It's a big moment for Toyota in India, for a company known for its hybrids. It is now launching its first electric vehicle in the Indian market. And talking to me about this and more, I have with me Mr. Sabari Manohar, the EVP for Sales, Marketing and Service and Used Cars, and Vikram Gulati, the Country Head and EVP for Corporate Affairs and Governance. Thanks so much for talking to us. Sabari, I'd like to start with you first. EVs, you're a bit of a late starter. I think a lot of people have come into the market. Do you think, there's a momentum which has been built up and you're in a way behind in the race?
Okay. Maybe we are not late. Toyota has been to this electrified technology right from the year 1996. Toyota has made the first EV in RAV4 in US and Japan market. So Toyota has got an in-depth experience of close to 30 years in electrified technology, as well as 38 million electrified vehicles are there across the world. Coming to India specific, we have launched the hybrids 10 years before. So we have a decade of experience in terms of handling electrified technology in terms of both product as well as service. So this gives an upper hand for us in terms of taking care of the complete ecosystem when it comes to electrified vehicles. So basically, we are, in addition to what in terms of the legacy of experience and skill and knowledge what Toyota has, we are also completely prepared in terms of having 500 plus enabled workshop, which will take care of the customer. And when it comes to the skilled manpower, we have close to 2,500 plus technicians, and we have 1,300 plus touch points. So this is one set of an ecosystem which will give assurance to the customer. So that is something we would like to focus equally when we focus more on the product. In addition to it, the anxiety of range, the EV gives a range more than 500 plus kilometers. And then we also have an assurance in terms of assured buyback as well as BAS as service. So this is what we would like to keep as a complete ecosystem which will give peace of mind. And once again, I'm repeating, assured care for the customer.
Right. So I think Toyota is known for the assured care. I mean, anyone buying a Toyota knows that one thing, they won't have a problem with it. So we have no doubt it's going to be, let's say, a product that will be trouble-free, true to the reputation that has made Toyota's reputation in India and globally. But honestly, Sabri, today there's more to it. The people want more excitement. We're seeing the vehicles that are doing well. They've got a lot of features. In fact, there's carpet bombing of features. There's, let's say certain performance expectations. Clearly, I think from your side, you're playing more on the ecosystem than the product itself. Do you think, looking at the competitive landscape, how are you going to stand out beyond the ecosystem and just the product itself?
So I would like to classify the whole answer in three portions. One is in terms of the product itself. It's very unique, and it is, we call it as urban tech. It has a signature Toyota hammerhead design, and the headlamp as well as the side profile of the vehicle is made in such a way that it has a very strong and bold stance of an SUV. So that is in terms of the exterior. When it comes to interior, it does have connected features, which is on par with the customer's expectation. It also has a 10.2 inch combi meter as well as 10.1 multimedia display. And all the other features, whatever we talk about in terms of 360-degree camera, then we have ADAS 2 level in terms of safety. We have 7 airbags as a standard. So it has been taken care in the product in terms of how it looks as a strong stance of the SUV, how the tech features are there, and how the safety features have been taken care. So in terms of product, we have a rounded product, but still we would like to say the biggest differentiator is in terms of how we take care of the customer, because today we need to think the customer's anxiety is not, we were of the opinion that the anxiety is more on the range, but then or the charging ecosystem. But internal study of us in terms of understanding the customer's expectation is there are more than 90% of the customers which we interviewed. They say that they are so dependent on home charging, and everyday drive, they use an EV, they come back home, they put for charging, the next day morning, the tank is full. So then you do this for 5 or 6 days in a week. Then in the weekend, if you would like to go for a long drive, this car is balanced in such a way that we have 543 kilometers a range in the one of the batteries package. So this will give that peace of mind to reach out to longer distance as well. However, in case of still the customer would like to proceed further in terms of covering more range, we also have a tie-up with ChargePoint as well as GeoBP, where we will use their infrastructure. We have already tied up with them so that we are able to give a complete peace of mind to them as well.
But to be honest, isn't this what everyone else is also doing in terms of you've got vehicles with, similar range, everyone's tying up with CPOs as well. So I'm just trying to understand if, is there anything that really stands out? So I think from what you're saying is that the vehicle will be bulletproof. And, service will not be an issue and it'll be super reliable. Is that the promise? And even a buyback assurance, because clearly vehicles, EVs depreciate rapidly. So are these the few factors which you think are going to be really the differentiators?
See, basically, I think customers, when we interviewed, we were also thinking that the feedback will come in terms of how the charging system on the highway and stuff like that. But their anxiety is more towards how I can charge at home itself. So it was a good study that we could find that 90% of the customers would like to charge, or they are feeling more dependable and secure to charge it at home or in their office. So you need a parking space, you need an ecosystem for that as well. So three portion. One is the product is unique and different and strong hammerhead design, which is a Toyota signature design. That is in terms of the exterior appearance. In terms of the interior, it is more of the connected features that we talk about. It has a ventilated seat, all the tech features, whatever we have. But we don't want to stop there in terms of making EV as a EV. The biggest portion, what we could understand based on our customer feedback and research, is how they feel much more secure, how they feel much more safe. So that's why we call it as assured care. And again and again repeating this because the experience and the legacy of Toyota has to be experienced by each and every customer. So 30 years of experience, 1 decade of experience in electrified cars handling in India. So we have 500 odd workshops which are already enabled to manage. And
so no software glitches.
So all these things, that's the peace of mind that we would like to give to the customer.
A lot of other brands have had software glitches. So you're confident that they won't have any of the glitches which have faced EVs in the past.
Toyota always believes on continuous development and improvement. So even if it is there, we have our regional offices and we have some regional office and zonal offices. From there, we try to reach out in a single day. Even the service is done in 45 minutes, even to the maximum list of things to do in a service itself. So 24/7 in terms of roadside assistance. So we want to make this as one of the biggest differentiator.
Right. And before I turn to Vikram, just one last thing is you want to make this a differentiator, but to be honest, you've got a sister product with partners Maruti Suzuki. So do you think there's a challenge again differentiating there? Because it's worked to a certain extent. I mean, the partnership has worked. We've seen Glanza Baleno. We've seen it's worked in that sense. We've seen Franck's Tizer. And do you think, you figured out how to manage this sort of dynamic where, to be honest, these are badge engineered products to some extent, but each one has their own kind of unique audience?
See, both the brands have taken their strengths into consideration so that we are able to give a refined product in terms of technology or in terms of the platform. To answer to this, the key point is 30 years of electrification is still unique for Toyota itself. 38 million vehicles globally is unique for Toyota itself. So that is one of the biggest differentiator which can complement for our product.
Right. So you think audience will recognize that hybrids, electrified vehicles, Toyota badge, reliability, that will be the differentiator even over another, let's say, similar product?
See, two things. One is multi-pathway. We have been telling this for the last couple of years and customers have readily accepted it. So finally, the technology has to be adopted by the customer. So we can see how it is turning in terms of ICE engine or hybrid or mild hybrid. You can take High Rider or High Cross or Krista or Fortuner. So all these things are multi-pathway. And second, this thing is in terms of our own expertise, see what we have in this technology of electrification. So that we would like to keep this one of the big differentiator.
Right. And Vikram, turning to you, clearly EVs, everyone's doing EVs for multiple reasons. I think it's one way to go. I mean, you all have chosen hybrids, but clearly EVs have a role to play. Just wanted to get your thoughts, and especially with Cafe 3 looming. Clearly, I think EVs cannot be ignored, and purely with hybrids, you can't necessarily meet your target. So how important is EV for Cafe? And do you think Cafe as a whole is actually redefining portfolios for a lot of automakers?
So let me put it this way, that technology is only an enabler to get to the end objective, which we're all trying to achieve in our own unique ways, which is sustainable mobility, moving away from fossil fuel consumption, lowering carbon emissions. So that's really the goal, and technology is only a way of doing it, right? And you're right. I mean, all these technologies will have a big role to play, whether it's a battery electric vehicle or a strong hybrid, or even a plug-in hybrid or alternate fuels. So we believe that the consumer ultimately must be given a choice to be able to choose a cleaner, greener technology vis-a-vis the incumbent pure petrol or a pure diesel. And yes, regulations do play a big role in terms of shaping the speed of transition. And upcoming Cafe 3 regulation will definitely define the way ahead for next 5 years from 2027 onwards. And depending upon the mix that each OEM wants to go with, there would be different product mix, but technology mix that different OEMs would be playing to, depending upon their own strategy and their strengths. But I think the key thing that everybody would be achieving would be a much lower consumption of fossil fuel thanks to Cafe, and of course much lower carbon emission as a result of that.
But Vikram, don't you think that the way Cafe is with super credits for hybrids more than petrol, obviously benefit given to biofuels, the regulations also kind of give a certain benefit to certain technologies. So it's not really technology agnostic in that way. And that also is shaping the way, let's say portfolios are being redefined. For example, diesel always at a disadvantage in terms of regulation. They never get the kind of, let's say, benefits anything electrified would. So just wanted to get your sense on, let's say everyone will have to kind of, let's say, align to a certain kind of, I wouldn't say technology, but a certain direction, which is hybrid and electrified going forward.
I agree. When we say technology agnostic, we're referring to agnostic with respect to the greener technologies. You're right. There are certain, in the draft regulation that is out right now, the final one is yet to come. There are certain super credits and other benefits that have been provided to different technologies, including battery electric. Battery electric has super credits of 3.
Right.
And, so all of these technologies, depending upon, their actual benefit to the desired goal as well as the challenge in terms of their adoption, the policymakers are giving, some sort of advantage for their pickup to happen, realizing the benefit to, actual towards achieving the end objective of the regulation, as well as, speed of its adoption. So going ahead, when we said technology agnostic, and I'm repeating this, we are really talking about technology agnostic vis-a-vis green technology. So
right.
You may want to go with one mix as an OEM, depending upon a mix of these green technologies, and the other OEM may want to choose another mix.
Right.
But all of these guys, whether all of us, in fact, would have to take a mix which helps us to get over Cafe 3, which ultimately leads to achieving a national goal of reduced fossil fuel consumption and
right.
decarbonization.
Right, yeah. And Vikram, we've always said that hybrids and EVs don't compete, they complement. But to be honest, let's say a push to hybrids or giving certain stops to hybrids could slow down EV penetration, because obviously that might benefit. I mean, where do you think the balance should be? Because clearly at the end of the day, the view is that, zero emission vehicles is the long-term goal. And if you give hybrids a benefit, you'll just lengthen that transition. But at the same time, we are not ready for full EV adoption yet because of charging infrastructure. So this is quite a tricky balance. So just want to get your thoughts now about both an EV and hybrids.
So I'll give you actual data case study, that of UP. When the benefits was given to both hybrids and BEVs, the numbers you can check out, both the technologies started to increase in terms of adoption. And as the condition of local manufacturing came into play, the UP government chose to extend the exemption from local manufacturing to BEVs only. So now BEVs only get the benefit. But post that taking out in the November numbers that we saw, both hybrids and BEVs fell in terms of the adoption. So actually what you've got to see is, if hybrids are being adopted, they're not eating into BEV space. If there's a consumer who wants to buy a BEV, he will jolly well buy a BEV. It's actually eating into either diesel or petrol. The other point that I'd like to, supplement my answer in terms of complementarity is the fact that both have electric powertrains, similar power parts. So if you are selling one strong hybrid in place of, let's say, a pure petrol or pure diesel, you're actually selling an electric powertrain. One motor, one additional battery, one additional, high voltage system, ECUs, all of that actually adds to the volume, and therefore, logically speaking, it would enable a faster pace of localization. And that's what we've seen globally.
Right.
So we believe that both are very complementary.
Right. And, Sabari, just your last question before we wrap up is just looking forward, how's 2026 looking? Because clearly the GST benefit momentum seems to be continuing. How's Jan kicked off? And clearly we are seeing a lot of action on the sub 4 meter where the benefit has been quite considerable. And, just your thoughts on how is it for Toyota?
We closed the year 2025 very positively. And as you rightly said, Jan has kicked in. All the segments, we are able to see a positive response from the customer. So we expect this momentum to continue for this year 2026 as well.
Right. And, looking at the sub 4 meter segment where you just now have two models, GST just kicked in so very early to kind of react. But has there been a thinking that, we should be looking at this segment more because just the way the, taxation landscape has played out?
See, just the changes have happened just recently. So there is nothing called we have thought about it at this point of time or not. But it depends upon, again, we continue to do the market study. That's a base for us to introduce any product in any segment itself. So we will continue to study more and take a call later.
Right. And your outlook for your first EV, I mean, numbers, confident market share is going to be a slow start. I know there are a lot of exports planned also. But just to get your sense, I mean, do you see penetration increasing right now to, I think we're about 5%, 5-6%? Will it now start jumping this year as more players come in? So just your outlook for EVs and in particular your first model.
See, we are in the SUV segment and this EV also is going to come in the same segment. So
quite crowded now.
As a segment, yes, it's crowded, but also we see a big growth in this segment only. So we see a positive output that will come from the EV as well.
Right. Vikram, any thoughts on the penetration? I mean, obviously it will go up. It'll be almost double from 24 to 25, isn't it? Yeah.
The EV penetration right now, I think, is close to touching 4 to 5%.
Right. Yeah. We were 2.2. So, yeah.
4% or thereabouts. And moving ahead as a larger number of product offerings come into space, obviously, I think the penetration is bound to increase. But very difficult to project the numbers given the the uncertainty around the whole space in terms of what's happening globally and in India, but largely positive, I would say.
Right. Great. And on that positive note, I wish you all the best and congratulations on this new journey. And yes, Toyota is going to be entering the EV space, bit of a late starter, but Toyota has never been the first one to jump in. They always take a measured approach. And that's what Toyota is all about. Thanks very much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.